If you had penalty shot in overtime as another way to lose for the Sharks, congratulations.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite lovable losers in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen, proudly a part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow along wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And today we're discussing a penalty shot in overtime, Vitek Vanecek's return, Colin Graf's growing role, 2C issues, and what the numbers say behind the Sharks' 2-1 loss in overtime. So before we get to all that, do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. I'm not even, to quote the great anchorman Ron Burgundy, I'm not even mad. That's amazing. Like, the Sharks have found so many ways to lose games this year, right? I mean, giving up 6 straight goals against the Canucks, comes to mind, just last minute collapses, just so many ways to lose games this year. And they went out and they found a way. Like, I honestly cannot recall a game where a team loses on a penalty shot in overtime. It's bonkers the way this team just finds new ways to lose. That being said, Matthew Schaefer is going to be pretty sweet and teal. But was it a soft call? Yeah, probably pretty soft call. Definitely have seen much harder stick infractions and on guys on breakaways not called for a penalty shot. But hey, welcome to the 2024-2025 San Jose Sharks, where again, inventing new ways to lose hockey games. Yeah. Like, it should have been a power play for the Canucks. And who knows? Maybe the Canucks, who are 0 for 4 on the power, or 1 for 4, sorry, excuse me, they scored their first goal with like 1 second left on the power play. Maybe they win it in overtime that way. And you're just delaying the inevitable. But still, it kind of feels a little bit like, just a little bit like you were jobbed in that situation. So you have to enter the start like that. They honestly, they played really well in this game. It was very much a rock fight between two teams who struggle to score, and especially right now with the Canucks not having Quinn Hughes. The Sharks played really well in this game for good stretches, and especially the third period. Canucks very much parked the bus and tried to hold on. And that Jerdemko, who is perfect against the Sharks, now 13-0 against the Sharks, which is just ridiculous ownage there. But like, they try to hang on. The Sharks score a late goal, and who knows what happens in overtime. But like, you gotta feel like you were jobbed one a little bit there. So it's a little frustrating. But again, like, I'm not even mad. It's just it's more amazing that they keep finding ways to do this. So I think other than the penalty shot in overtime, I think the other big story though tonight was Vitek Vanecek's return, right? Making his first start since mid-December, when he broke his cheekbone due to an errant puck while he was on the bench backing up. Vanecek was really good tonight, right? He almost, like, you wonder if him just facing a flurry of shots at the beginning of the game, because I was like, oh no, this is going to be bad, right? Beginning of the game, Canucks just come out, pepper him with a bunch of shots. And you wonder if he just was like, it gave him a minute to kind of like not think about it, right? And he's just like, oh, I'm playing hockey again. And then all of a sudden it's, halfway through the first period, he's probably just like, oh, okay, like we're doing this now. So I thought he was excellent tonight. And that is a good thing for the Sharks to have Vanecek hopefully continue to play well. Yes, the Canucks offense right now is poo-poo platter bad, especially without Quinn Hughes on the team. But Vanecek also made some big saves. Both things can be true, right? The Canucks offense is bad. Vanecek also played really, really well tonight. So that is good for the Sharks, and especially with Askarov, who's probably going to spend the majority, if not the rest of the season, with the Barracuda, try to help them make a long playoff run. And Alexander Georgiev, who's played okay and also has played not good at all in stretches since his acquisition from the Colorado Avalanche. If Vitek Vanecek can, again, like, we're not asking for like if you can just be mediocre, right? Can you just be average? Can you just not give up 4 on any given night? And Vanecek has had his bad nights, but overall, I think he's played pretty decently this year. And I think we maybe have a little bit of a rusty memory when it comes to Vanecek's play. But Vanecek, I think, is for the most part played pretty decently. It definitely was overshadowed by Blackwood's performance, but I think it's a chance for Vanecek to play well, and especially with how the Sharks like to use their goaltenders, right? Where it's very much kind of 50-50. I think if splitting the reps between Vanecek and Georgiev is probably the best, I would start Vanecek on Saturday against the Stars, try to give him another start. Give Georgiev some time off. That man needs a break. And then again, you have 2 weeks off after that for Four Nations. But Vanecek tonight, like, I think also the Sharks did a solid job of pushing things out, but he made 22 saves on 24 shots. Of course, one of those was the penalty shot in overtime. And the other one was a really nice tip by Dakota Johnson, or Dakota Joshua, sorry, excuse me. That was just a nice play. You got to tip your hat there. 2 goals allowed on expected goals against of 1.82, 917 save percentage, 201 goals against average, 6 of 7 on high danger shots for 857 high danger save percentage, 4 for 4 on mid danger, and then 12 of 12 on low danger. So the Sharks did a really good job of kind of keeping the shots out. And I thought Vanecek's rebound control was really good tonight. How many of the pucks did you see, especially from the long out, where sometimes those can give you those big, juicy rebounds from really far away? How many times did he kind of swallow those up and gobble those and make sure, if it did rebound, it fell right in front of him and he was able to cover up? So there's a really positive step. Or, if you watched his game with the Barracuda, I think the first period he was definitely kind of trying to get back into it, but then looked solid for the Barracuda the rest of the game. I was kind of expecting the same thing, but you wonder if just maybe facing a big flurry of shots at the game didn't really give him a chance to think too much about it. He was just in there playing hockey. So I thought it was a really solid performance from him, and that is something the Sharks really need. If, again, we're not going to win a lot of games here, but we don't want these 7-2 type performances, right? You just want games to be close. And tonight's game was close. It was I don't say it was a well-played game between two teams, but right, the Sharks fought back and they outplayed their opponents for a large stretch of time in this game. So, that's what we want to see, right? That's what we want to see. So, again, Matthew Schaefer is going to look really sick in teal here pretty soon. So we're going to talk about Colin Graf and his growing role, look at kind of his time on ice tonight, especially talk about the 2C issue right now, and then we'll dig into the numbers behind this game some more. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. If you want to get tickets to the tank, maybe go to a Warriors game. You want to go see Jimmy Butler. Baseball season, not too far. I think pitchers and catchers reporting really soon. But you get tickets for something. Game Time Picks is right there for you. With Game Time Picks, the app does all the hard work for you. It curates the best deal. So you don't have to waste time searching through endless ticket listings. They have curated deals, make it super simple to find great tickets at a great price. No more sifting through thousands of options. The seat view features a game changer. Before I even hit buy, I look exactly to see where my seats are, right? Because there's nothing worse than getting to an event and realizing my seats stink. With game, that way you can see, hey, maybe over here, spend a couple bucks more, way better seats. So the best part about Game Time is they also have the lowest price guarantee. So if you find a better deal elsewhere, they'll refund 110% of the difference. Plus, your tickets are guaranteed to deliver on time with easy cancellation options if something comes up. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNHL, LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, before we continue talking about Colin Graf and such, I do want to, of course, thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. If you haven't already, perfect time to subscribe. We've kicked off our draft coverage. James Hagan's yesterday. That's one of the big four in the draft. Plus, we got plenty of fun stuff coming up for Four Nations here as we get ready for the trade deadline. Start looking at free agency, checking out the prospects. Plenty of great stuff. So make sure you guys are following wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. All right. Colin Graf playing really well and earning himself a nice role with the Sharks. The two forwards who played more than Colin Graf tonight. William Eklund, pretty good guy. We like William Eklund on Locked On Sharks. Michael Celebrini, pretty good player as well. Those are the two players who played more than Colin Graf tonight. Even if you look at the shifts, Graf and Celebrini tied 22 shifts. Only Eklund played more shifts. That's because Eklund plays power play, penalty kill, and 5-on-5, top line 5-on-5. But Colin Graf here, if you're noticing, Graf is getting first penalty kill opportunity. It's usually with like Goodrow or Cunningham and stuff, but Colin Graf, noted rookie Colin Graf, is getting first penalty kill opportunity, right? We saw last game he played really, like he was flying all over the ice at 5-on-5. Tonight, maybe not like as noticeable, but it was the subtle plays, and especially on the penalty kill. He continues to earn more opportunities from the Sharks, right? And I know the Sharks after Four Nations break are going to be a lot healthier. You look at guys who are most likely coming back, right? Nico Sturm, Kovalenko, like Klim Kostin, some of these other guys who are going to most likely start to get back and probably send Colin Graf back to the Barracuda. But I think it's good that he's kind of carving out this role right now. So next season, when Colin Graf is coming into training camp with a full off season after playing professional hockey for a full season, like Colin Graf's going to know his role. And they talked about, he mentioned when they sent him down this, previously they wanted to work on his offense. Which is fine. And I think his offense will continue to grow, and especially as the Sharks kind of solve some of their problems in the middle center, which we'll talk about here in a second. But it's good to see, though, they're kind of giving him that opportunity to become, I think, a dynamic penalty killer, right? Creating offense on the penalty kill or just putting pressure that really kind of, I think the best penalty kills are the ones that do those high pressure, like just high pressure constantly. I think Colin Graf can do that. So it's good to see Colin Graf earning an opportunity to do this and taking that opportunity. I think performing really, really well with it. So, yeah, I'm really happy to see Colin Graf do well right now. So, one issue the Sharks are, I think, really having right now is their depth down the middle, especially with Alex Wennberg out right now. Podorowski is from come up from the Barracuda, and he's I think it's fair to say he has struggled with that role. Playing second line center in the NHL, and I know it's frustrating, but at the same time, right now, like the Sharks just don't have anybody else really to play it, especially with Alex Wennberg not expected to be back until after the Four Nations break. And with one game to go, like I don't see any of the guys really coming back right now to kind of step in the lineup. So this is something I think the Sharks, again, if Wennberg, I think Wenberg's gonna have a big opportunity here in the last kind of 25 games after Four Nations to solidify himself as kind of the short-term 2C. But if he falters, like the Sharks are gonna have that's just another thing on their checklist. I think this offseason is trying to find another middle six center. Just because again, like I don't, as well as Will Smith's been playing, I don't know if I talked about it the other day, but I'm not ready to give the keys to the second line center position to Will Smith quite yet. I think you want to have some protection there, so that way, if Smith wins the job and he's good at it, awesome. But if Smith's not quite ready yet, you're not putting the pressure on him to kind of be that guy when he's not quite ready to be that guy. So I do think this is a very intriguing kind of situation for the Sharks here, especially if they are right. If yes, we know they're not going to win a lot of games, but still, you want to put Smith and Zetterlund in a position to succeed. This you got to try to solve that issue, and I really like Andrew Podorowski. I think I said it before and I'll say it again. I'll continue to say it. I think he's the second best signing that the Sharks made this offseason behind Tyler Toffoli because of what he has brought to the San Jose Barracuda team and what he has done for a lot of these young players, including Colin Graf, who we just talked about. Graf and Podorowski have basically been stapled together since the beginning of camp with the Barracuda. And I think he's done a lot for that team down there to help just make it respectable again and help them win. And he is well deserving of being an AHL All-Star. But I just don't. I think 2C, he's just a little bit in over his head right there, right now, which it's very fair. It is a tough position to play. So, hopefully Wennberg can get back healthy here after Four Nations. I worry for this Dallas game because I think they're going to eat the Sharks up down the middle here, especially Matt Duchene versus Podorowski, and then Granlund versus Luke Cunnin down the middle is not going to be fun for the Sharks come Saturday night. So we're going to dig into the numbers behind this game. Some more here. We'll talk about how the Sharks performed really, really well in the third period and deserve to honestly tie this game up. And so we'll get to that here in just 1 second. All right, before we finish up here, of course, do want to thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. For your second listen, go check out one of the other great shows. You have Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Your fantasy hockey team needs some help. You also have anything in the Bay Area. Locked On Niners, Locked On Warriors, Locked On A's, Locked On Giants. Plenty of great stuff here at the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. Go check out any of those shows where you're listening to this podcast, or you can watch on YouTube as well. All right. again, this was a really this game was very much a rock fight between two bad offenses, but we're gonna take the wins where we care. That 47-25 shot at 5-on-5 time in this game. 42-42 shot attempts, 50% Corsi for. Actual shots on goal, 24-16 in favor of the Sharks. Scoring chances, 18-16 in favor of the Sharks. High danger chances, 11-7 in favor of the Sharks. 2.41 to 1.04 expected goals for in favor of the Sharks. Like, the Sharks did a bunch of great stuff in this game, and again comes back to, they probably get jobbed a little bit, but they also, as we've seen, right, 4 penalties, one of them a delay over glass, one of them from Celebrini, right? You can't do that. Jake Wallman just cross-checking a dude while he's down. Like, you can't do that. Just stuff like kind of those mental plays where it's just like, you can't do that. And you kept giving the Canucks opportunities to go on the power play. They finally get one in the third period. But 5-on-5, though, like, the Sharks definitely outplayed the Canucks, especially in the third period. I know they were down 1 and they were kind of pushing to try to come back, but how often have we seen the Sharks not be able to push? And we've seen other teams kind of put the kibosh on them. But in the third period alone, 12-7 shot attempts, 8-2 actual shots for the Sharks, like 0.46 to 0.04 expected goals for in favor of the Sharks. Like, the Sharks had, the shot attempts were definitely, early on kind of in favor of the Canucks, but it was pretty even throughout this game. And the Sharks pushed back at the end of the game to tie this thing up here. And they got more quality chances. They got more high danger chances. Like, that's exactly what you want to see from them. So, again, they lost, but I think there's a solid performance from the Sharks tonight. Looking at the lines, Ekman, Celebrini, Toffoli played 12-34, 11-8 shot attempts, 7-3 actual shots. I don't know why the goals. Oh, sorry, 0.23 to 0.05 expected goals for in favor of that line. 2-2 scoring chances, 1-0 high danger chances from that line. Zetterlund, Podorowski, Will Smith, 10-58, and it's like we talked about before. 5-13 shot attempts, 5-6 actual shots, 0.42 to 0.28 expected goals for, 2-6 scoring chances, 2-3 high danger chances. Will Smith tonight, like, 2 breakaways. You got to get one. You got to get one on one of those. So almost had one. Like, Demko made a great save on the second one there. Will Smith, like, I know we haven't gotten points the last 2 games, but Will Smith's been making some really solid plays. And I think when Alex Wennberg gets back and we have Zetterlund, Wennberg, Smith, I feel pretty solid about that line. I think for Wennberg, he's had his moments this year, but it's been pretty quiet. I think he's going to be playing with probably the best line he's played with all season, assuming he slides in with that line. Like, I think we can live with that and see what happens there. So, Duer, Delander, Grundstrom, 825 tonight, 14-9 shot attempts. Look at this line, 7-2 actual shots, 0.48 to 0.1 expected goals for, 7-4 scoring chances, 3-1 high danger chances. This line was buzzing and kind of provided a lot of energy for the Sharks tonight, which they really needed at moments, right? And it kind of felt like when things got a little bit helter-skelter, I think this line did a really good job tonight of kind of, at least trying to provide some energy and spark some energy because, and kind of turn the tide there. So I would not be mad at seeing those guys play together again. So we'll see. And then finally, we had Goodrow, Cunnin, Colin Graf. Not as great a performance as we saw last time, but still a positive performance. 8-19, 6-4 shot attempts, 1-1 actual shots, 0.41 to 0.04 expected goals for, 4-1 scoring chances, and 2-0 high danger chances. So I think that's right now until we get people back. Like, I don't expect the lines to change, really, to be honest. So I think that's going to be the lines right now. Defensively for the pairings, we had Wallman Thrun, which played well tonight, 62.5% Corsi 4, 10-6 shot attempts. Mukamadula and Liljegren, 14-12, 53.85% Corsi 4. And then Farrar Thompson, 41.67%, 5-7 Corsi 4. I do think Mukamadula played pretty well for the most part tonight. He had a really nice defensive play on what would have been like on a one-on-one almost breakaway. Did a nice job to kind of shut things down there. You saw him kind of activate in the offensive zone, make some nice little plays there. Did have a couple kind of puck handling miscues and stuff like that, which again, you're going to have like this. If you're going to lose, like, I'd rather lose with young defensemen who are kind of learning stuff, right? And you had Thompson, Thrun, Mukamadula, who are all young defensemen right now. And like, I will take that. So I thought Wallman, other than the dumb play he had, I thought he played much better. You kind of saw, I wonder if he's starting to kind of maybe fully get back from his injury, right? You saw some of the Wallman like shimmy shuffle stuff at the blue line, especially on the power play. So hopefully we start to see Wallman kind of rebound from whatever injury he's been kind of dealing with and kind of get back to the Wallman we saw at the beginning of the season, right? Because the Sharks are more fun when Jake Wallman's playing well. So overall, though, I think, though, like, again, frustrating about the penalty shot. But the way the Sharks are playing, they're probably giving up a goal there on the power play, or it's going to a shootout. And we know this team can't score in a shootout anyway. So then we're just talking about, how the Sharks lost it 2-1 in a shootout instead of overtime. So, but I think you do have to, like, it just feels like the team is playing much looser. And I touched on it. I mentioned it last time or after the last game, where you wonder if with the Granlund trade kind of now in the rearview mirror, this team can kind of move forward, right? And not have this big thing hanging over them. And yes, there's probably still going to be more trades from key veterans who are here right now. But I think Granlund just meant a lot to this team, right? And just especially with how important his role is and what he did for the young players, et cetera, et cetera. I think just having that kind of over with now, and the team can just kind of get back to playing hockey and growing and watching these young players continue to do cool stuff. So that's going to be it for me tonight. We'll probably be back on Saturday night after the Stars game. And then that way we can kind of do all just fun stuff for the next 2 weeks with Four Nations. So make sure you follow along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Until Saturday night, bye, friends.